Hey everyone, hope everyone is doing well. Apologize for the air conditioning that's blowing above, but it is quite hot, so I do need it. But in this video, I wanted to talk about community very briefly and some of my experiences with it and my goal of what sort of community that Jake and I want to work to develop with our future gym. So in the past, my most prominent memories of working out and fitness were my high school gym, my own house gym, the gym at college, and the gym that I'm currently at. I was been to a couple other gyms, but not for the length of time really needed. I was at one for a summer, so I can talk about that briefly as well. But the first gym that I ever really went to was the home gym in the basement with my dad, lifting weights up for him so he can do dumbbell bench or flies or whatever he was doing that day. And then when I got older, stuff that I was doing down there. Now, I really liked having a home gym because it's convenient, but I also found that it's hard to be motivated all the time, which is very weird because you have the convenience of just walking downstairs, but it's kind of oxymoronic because then it's hard to commit to going down there. Very weird. But I also couldn't have music really loud because my house and other people live there. So it definitely wasn't the best place, but it was definitely a good place to have. I mean, just to have dumbbells and a bench, and I could squat if I wanted to. I just had that resource there if I had to get to work if the regular gym was closed. But I enjoyed going to my high school because it had a lot more equipment, had whatever equipment that you really needed. It was kind of more old school because it was the old gym before the new school that I never got to go to was built. But it had everything that you'd imagine in a gym: squat racks and leg presses and bench presses and all of that sort of stuff. And it was really there where I learned how to really think about programming a little bit, because we had a really good strength coach and he was able to give us programs and told us, every time you do these sets and reps of whatever exercise, if you complete them all with the weight, then you, for upper body, go up 2.5 pounds on each side, so 5 total. The lower body, 10 total pounds, so 5 on each side. So it's really there. I had a great influence, and it started to really develop what I envisioned, what I would like a gym to look like in that community. Obviously in high school you don't really have a ton of people that are dedicated to lifting, and a lot of people that are flakes a lot. So I was thankfully pretty consistent at that point, because that's when I stopped playing basketball, so I just poured all my energy into the gym. But then you really start to see the people that are in there every day and the people that are never in there, or in there for 20 minutes, or there for an hour and never doing anything. So you kind of see the different kinds of people that are in there, and that was really my first experience with that. But went through high school, got into college, I saw the difference between the athletes gym and the general fitness gym. The only real difference, ironically, was the athletes place had a lot nicer equipment and a lot more. The people in the general place and the people in the athletes place put in about the same amount of effort, which I went to a Division III school, so you're not getting top tier athletes. And when I was on the baseball team, obviously I wasn't a top tier baseball player, but I worked really hard. I lifted really hard. I wasn't the best person, but I worked my butt off to try to maximize whatever talent that I may have had at the time. But I noticed that you see the same people not working hard and not caring about lifting and exercise and improving themselves in that sort of way. And part of that really drove me away from the baseball community that I was part of when I was at school. But I found that the people that I found in the general fitness area, once I stopped playing baseball, you start going in every day, you start seeing the same people every day, and then you start talking to each other. You start to develop that base of friendship and kinship and community with those people, and you see the sort of mutual benefit that you get. I mean, from the obvious ones, like you have a spot if you're benching or squatting, and you have someone there to help protect you. But then you have someone to say like, hey, you're doing this, maybe try this, or I really like this exercise, or your bar's tipping in some sort of way. You get feedback, you get help with programming, and you just have a friendship in the gym, someone that you can talk to about lifting, because it can be a very lonely endeavor. And it's very nice to be like, hey, can you watch what my bar is doing to see if it's doing anything weird? Hey, my left leg's been hurting, am I tipping to this side, or am I squatting straight up, is my deadlift looking weird? You get that feedback in that moment. Now, me personally, I recorded almost all my lifts, but when I do record them, I don't generally go back and analyze the video when I'm at the gym. It's usually for YouTube videos that I will go back and look at them, and then at that point I'll see stuff. But it's really nice to see that at the gym and get that in-person feedback, and be able to give that feedback as well, because then you're able to see what people do differently, how their body works, what teaching cues work, what verbal cues or teaching cues or all of that, what works and what doesn't work, what training methods work and what doesn't work, and you really continue to build that community. And that's what I really discovered in college, is that sort of like need to lift at a certain time, even if it wasn't convenient for me. I student taught, so I would get out of school about the same time. I'd get into the gym about 4:30, and that was when most people were getting in there between like 4 and 5. And we never scheduled that everyone was going to show up at a certain time. But what happened is that everyone liked lifting with each other, so we all showed up about 4 or 5 most days if we were lifting. If someone didn't show up, we just assumed they were taking a day off. If they did, then we'd lift together or lift around each other. And that was what was really interesting, and what really showed me what the ideal community space. It isn't that I have to wait for Jake to get in to lift with me, and if he doesn't show up, then I can't lift. No, I have my own stuff that I'm going to do no matter what. I mean, none of them can show up, everyone can show up. What I'm going to do is going to happen. But then they're going to show up, and they have their stuff simultaneously that they're going to do whether everyone shows up or no one shows up. So then everyone's working there, and it could be, we both squat that day, and so we share a squat rack, or we're both deadlifting, or something overlaps. But we all have our own things that we're working on, the specific workout or program that we're doing. Oftentimes, several people were powerlifting, so a lot of that stuff obviously overlapped. But everyone was there, was motivating, able to help each other out with spots and advice on technique and motivation and all kinds of various things like that. But you also just had that consistency that you knew you were going to see a couple people, the same couple people every day, so you weren't lifting there by yourself. And I'm a loner a lot of the time, so then I'll just put my headphones in and lift a lot of times. That's what I did for years. But then once you start having that community, then if there's music playing, but you have those people to talk to, and you don't have to depend on the music to motivate you. You have people around you. So I really discovered that in college. And once I graduated, I went to a different gym that was just for the summer, and it was the perfect equipment gym. The only thing that I didn't like too much was, I suppose, it was kind of that atmosphere at college that I missed. It was that same core of people that were all lifting about the same time. That gym was 24-hour access, and it was a really nice gym. I went back to it when I went back up home earlier this year. I have no qualms with the gym. I just wish more of my friends went there to lift. Maybe it's a selfish thing, but it had all the equipment, and it was a great atmosphere to lift for the time that I did. And perhaps one of the things I didn't do as well is show up about the same time every single day. Because it was summer, I could lift at whatever time that I wanted. So I wasn't very consistent with always being there at 2 or always being there at 5 or whatever. So part of that is my fault with that, but it was a phenomenal place, and it still is a phenomenal place to work out, and some place that I plan to go to again if I'm visiting home up north, because it's pretty darn close to my parents' house and all of that stuff. But that was the other place, and the place that I'm currently at is amazing for the community. It's very reminiscent of my time in college. You have that core of people that you're probably going to see almost every day doing similar things, going into workout. My roommate right now, we both weightlift, so we have that to connect with. We'll ride to the gym sometimes, so we have that bond and that ability to work off each other and feed off each other, and to give each other advice on form, video stuff. It's just a great asset to have for both of us, to where we can mutually benefit and mutually motivate ourselves and give each other help whenever we need it. But then we have other people in there that are more powerlifting focused or bodybuilding focused, and have their different ideas of what they want to do, but they all come in about the same time, because I'll get in there now that's my school year started for teaching, 5:30. That's when a lot of people get in, because either they're getting done with school or they're getting done with work or whatever. They usually get in about that time. Now it's really busy, but you see the same people, and you get to have that community built with that. And that's something that with Jake's and I's gym that I really want to be able to do. And it's not forcing people, you have to come in at 5 with the team and lift, because I was at a different gym where they had team lifting times, and I was not about that. I don't like being told what to do when I'm doing stuff like that. Like, I like to be able to do my own thing. I like to get help, I like to get feedback, but I don't like to be told, alright, you have to be there at 5, between 5 and 7:30, that's when we're lifting, because that's very reminiscent of the time I was on a baseball team, and that's one aspect that I don't miss at all. But saying like, hey, I'm going to be there, between 5:30 and 6, probably going to be a little after 6 if I'm running late, and that to not really matter, because that person's going to be there doing their thing, and then you're going to show up, do your thing, and then you'll be able to talk to each other, talk about life, talk about lifting, talk about whatever, and then hit some weights and have that social aspect. And that's something that, being an introvert, I never really seeked that much or really had that much experience with. But at the gym, it's kind of like my people who go out to the bar to socialize. That's where I socialize. So I have that double motivation to where I want to go and get my stuff done. I like making progress. I like getting stronger. I don't really care so much about the muscles. The muscles are a nice side effect, but I like making progress in the gym. So I would go there no matter what to do those things. But having that extra incentive of, well, today I get to see Wasim, or today I get to see EC or Derek, or I get to go see whoever that's in there today, and then we get to lift, and then we can BS for a bit, but then we have that extra community thing, and that the social aspect of it that really just adds to it. And would I make as much progress if I didn't have that? I don't know if I would, and that's kind of a weird thing for me to say, being a strong, independent person that thinks he doesn't need no help, or likes to be introverted and independent and things like that. But I really think that the social aspect in the community is something that really is an addition that is not tangible, but is something that once you have it, then you know it's there, and you know how important it is and how beneficial it is. And that's something that I want to encourage with the gym as much as we can, because it has to be genuine, and it has to be something that isn't forced, but to really show up at the same time every day, show up after work, for some people, or for me when I'm down there. It's being consistent and developing that community, and be willing to communicate with others. You don't just have a bunch of people with their headphones in just blindly doing their own thing. Now, if there's people that want to do that, that's perfectly fine. I don't want to prevent those people from doing that, because some people want to really be focused on what they're doing, don't want to talk. They had a really bad day. Some days I'm like that. I don't want to talk to anyone. I just want to lift some dang weights and not interact. I just want to just exert energy in a positive way. And everyone has those days, and some people always have those days and will always want to do that. But for a lot of people, they go to the gym because they have strength goals, but they also want to relieve stress. And one of the ways that you can do that is through communication with others and talking about your problems. And obviously it's not like this super PC atmosphere where you can't touch on certain topics. You can talk about whatever, you can complain about whatever, but you can do all that, but then still be there and do stuff. And that's where someone like me, who doesn't like to normally go out and socialize, can really benefit from that sort of thing, because then I have a specific task that I can go there to do no matter what. I know exactly what I'm going to do when I go there. I get the added benefit of being social with people. That's why I don't like going to bars and things like that, because all you're doing is just randomly talking to people, and it's very uncomfortable. But there, if I can talk to people if I want, I don't have to. I can productively lift and spend my time productively and be social at the same time. But apologize, I was a bit rambly, but hopefully my rambling made a little bit of sense. And that I covered the topic of community a little bit, but I'm curious what you think about the benefit of community and perhaps some of your experiences with that sort of thing, so feel free to leave that down below, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Peace.